Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Jake from today's iPhone.com, and as I am sure you are aware, Apple announced the new iPad yesterday, and they also announced a couple other cool things, so I'm gonna tell you about it. Okay, so first of all, iOS 5.1 was finally announced and released yesterday. It's available now if you haven't downloaded it. The two biggest changes, of course, are Japanese language support for Siri and a new camera slider on the lock screen. And then there's also some back-end improvements. It's said to fix the battery issues that have been plaguing iPhone 4S devices. So I'd love to know, you iPhone 4S users, if iOS 5.1 has helped you in any way. And it's also just supposed to improve general stability and bugginess with the software, so that is always a plus. And the next thing that took the stage at the Apple event was the new Apple TV. Now, no, this is not the rumored Apple HD TV that we've been talking about constantly for a couple months. This is just a refresh to the Apple TV box that we've been seeing for a while, and it doesn't look any different. There are basically only two changes to this device. Well, there's three. There is a updated UI, which current Apple TV owners can upgrade to now. And then there's also support for 1080p HD video streaming, which is very cool. And the new Apple TV will be powered by the A5 chip, not the A5X chip that we see in the iPad. This is last year's model, but it is a step up from the A4 chip that was in the 2010 version of the Apple TV. Everything else is basically the same: the design, the weight, the connections. There's deeper integration with Netflix, which is cool, and then of course it also ships with the remote control, and you can use your iPad or your phone or your iPod to control the Apple TV, and it's only $100. And finally, of course, the crown jewel of the event, the new iPad. Not called the iPad HD, not called the iPad 3, not called the iPad 2S, just the new iPad. I think this marks the beginning of a new naming scheme with the iPhone and the iPad. You know, it was getting a bit ridiculous with all these numbers and S's and HDs or whatnot, so you know, there's only one iMac, there's only one iPod. Well, I mean, there's more than one iPod, but there's one iPod Nano. It's not like the iPod Nano 7. So I think probably from now on we're just going to have, you know, the iPad, the iPhone, and that'll be it. But you don't care about the name. You want to know what this device offers, and it offers a lot. Let's start with the Retina display. Now, the rumors that we've been talking about for the past couple of months have been correct. We have a 9.7-inch 2048 by 1536 Retina display with over 3 million pixels, and from the pictures I've seen and from the videos I've seen, it looks awesome. The rest of the physical design of the iPad is basically identical. There is a home button. It's the black or white front bezel and then the aluminum back. The backing is exactly the same. In fact, the only physical difference between the new iPad and the iPad 2 is that the new iPad is 9.4 millimeters thick, whereas the old one was 8.8 millimeters thick. So it is a bit thicker, and that sucks if you have cases or something that are really specifically designed for the iPad 2. They might not work for the next one. Of course, screen protectors and smart covers will still work because they just go on the front, but some of those really tightly fitted hard cases might be a pretty tough squeeze. But honestly, I think that couple millimeters is a fair trade to fit the components you need to power the Retina display. And it's not that bad. I mean, 9.4 millimeters is still super thin, so that's really a non-issue in my opinion. Moving on, we have the A5X processor. Now, this is Apple's next generation custom processor. I'm kind of surprised it's not called the A6. The last one was the A5, and the one before that was the A4. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to go with the A5X moniker instead. But names aside, this is a super fast processor. It reportedly offers quad-core graphics, which coupled with the Retina display is going to be absolutely insane for games and stuff. And overall, it's just going to make the iPad that much faster and smoother, and definitely a noticeable step up from the iPad 2, which again, I never had any problems with the speed or anything. So I can only imagine how fast the new iPad's going to be. Some other notable features of the new iPad include a 5-megapixel back-facing camera that shoots 1080p HD video at 30 frames per second, and it also utilizes a lot of the same lens technology that we find in the iPhone 4S to really make the camera as great as it possibly can be. It's got the same VGA quality front-facing camera, but I mean, that's fine. Of course, it now has voice dictation. Now, this isn't full Siri. I'm not exactly sure why it's not full Siri, and it's just voice dictation, but now on the keyboard there's a little microphone button that you can click to tell the iPad what to type instead of actually typing it yourself. It's got the same awesome 10-hour battery life, 9 hours if you're on a cellular network. And speaking of cellular networks, the new iPad doesn't run on AT&T or Verizon's 3G, it runs on AT&T or Verizon's 4G. I certainly was not expecting this. I am surprised that Apple implemented 4G finally into a device, But now that I think about it, I guess it's time for it to happen, and hopefully we see it in the iPhone soon. Pricing and availability, of course, differs depending on how much internet you want or what carrier you choose, but in the US you have the option of Verizon or AT&T, and then abroad there's also a couple others like Rogers in Canada. Most of these features were all but confirmed weeks before the event. The only ones that really surprised me were the dictation and the 4G, and really those are the only ones that are anything new. The rest of the features are basically just improvements over features in the iPad 2, but I mean, they're still welcomed improvements. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about an iPad with these features. I mean, it's nothing too exciting, and I have to admit that during the event I was waiting for that one more thing, but it's definitely going to be a great device, and I haven't got my hands on it yet, but when I do, of course there'll be unboxings, there'll be comparisons, and I might just recommend it. So what did you guys think of the event? Were you underwhelmed, overwhelmed? Was it about what you were expecting? I'd love to know your thoughts, so let me know in the comment section down below, or hit me up on Twitter at @TIP_Jake. Definitely keep in mind that we will be covering everything about this new iPad and the other new things that Apple announced. So check back on today's iPhone for, like I said, unboxings, reviews, articles, all that fun stuff. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in a couple of days, and don't forget, for more news, views, reviews, and everything iPad 2, definitely check out todaysiphone.com.